And I'm live. I'm live, says the tubes. Been absent over here. I didn't mean to. I apologize for that. Hopefully, I can make up for it. Uh, I keep mentioning me doing some solo play shenanigans. Where is my. I just need an empty board. Empty board, new misc, solo play, create. Okay. Need an empty board, and all right, this is done. So, yeah, I wanted to do solo play, and I just hadn't keep putting it off for various reasons, trying to finish things up. I'm always, I always want to get things. I always want to get things finished. I guess I do think I fall for that kind of the enemy. No, perfect being the enemy of the good sometimes. And what's happening with me is I want to do something, and I think, okay, there's about 8 things I want to do before I do the thing that I want to do. And then those 8 things turn into 16 things that turn into 32 things. And I just get further and further and further and further away from what I want to do. So in this case, I wanted to use my home system, Troop, to do some solo play. But that that requires things of me. I've wanted to. The rules are basically done. They've been done. They've been published. But there have been some things I've wanted to add and change, and I've actually got it here where I've put some things that I've been thinking about. I've wanted to put in, and I've done some. There's some on the. This isn't. I have the player's guide open here. I have the referee's guide open on the window. I want to put some stuff in there. The other part of it is the setting part. I have these bits and pieces, but I don't have like a put together, like here's the setting. But it ends up being a little bit of a chicken and the egg kind of thing, because on the one hand, well, I need a setting if I'm going to start solo playing, but the other, 2 sides of it. One of the whole reasons why I wanted the solo play is to help just kind of develop. And this is why I think solo play can be fun if you're a GM and you're just while you're playing your game, or as you're kind of developing a campaign, or you're waiting to get people, you can kind of have fun solo playing to help flesh out the campaign world. So it's a little bit of this chicken and the egg thing of, okay, I'm waiting to do this because I'm waiting for the setting, but I'm kind of part of the idea is with the setting, do this, but I need some part of it, and I want to kind of finish these things, and I got to get my tables, and all these things kind of rubbing together, and ends up happening is I never do the thing that I'm setting out to do. Now, I'm not totally ready because I do need to do some of this stuff, at least I think anyway. Some of it is done. I'll switch over. So I have over here, this is now on the GM side. I have some tables, these in particular. So one of the things I wanted to do, and it's kind of interesting because I was developing this, and then I got to play in a little bit of Mythic Bastionland, and it kind of has a similar thing. I'm doing something different. But if you imagine if you played Mythic Bastionland, kind of the idea with the myths, this is kind of similar to it, which is the idea that things are happening and you get to kind of respond to these events. Or at least that's how I imagine my solo play going, which is kind of how I imagine in kind of a free-flowing game. So one of the things, I'll probably do a separate video on this, I guess. I played Mythic Bastionland last week on my Thursday game because we had a couple of absences due to GaryCon. And so we played something different. So we said, oh, we'll do Mythic Bastionland. And Daniel ran it, and he ran it very, at least for the first part of the night, very kind of open, because we're all, I've played once, but I wouldn't, I don't have an amazing grasp on the rules, and other people hadn't played at all. And Daniel, I think he's doing a solo play with Mythic Bastionland on his channel. Maybe, I don't know if it's, I think he's going to be putting them up. Hopefully I'm not spoiling the fact that he's doing that. But at any rate, just kind of playing the game open, where the roles that we're making and that he's making for myths and things are kind of open as you're sort of building out. So it was kind of nice to see it. And the events I have here, I'm not going to build out. Maybe I should go this way. With the myths, things are happening as a myth is unfolding. The myth is unfolding on the map somewhere. Multiple myths. So you're moving around the map. You're not always sure what's going on, but you're going and you're interacting, and okay, and then the myths sort of develop. the system kind of I've been thinking about, and part of the solo play is going to be really me sort of testing this, is come up with an event that happened. Something has happened, or it is news has come out that's going to happen. It can be something that has happened. And right now I have this table. I don't know if I love this table, to be perfectly honest, but let's warn you. So right now it's a D66 table. So, okay, so here I rolled 51. So 51 would give me a tournament of arms and skill. So this would be something that is happening, right? Okay, one of the local lords, and this is where I kind of need some setting, or at least some lords. Someone's hosting a tournament. So if we put this in the game and I'm the GM and rolling, hey, there's a tournament down the way. Okay, cool. And the idea would be that then players could choose to interact with this. In my game, I'm really tying things to, I really want you to be factional. I want you to be part of the fabric. So how you advance in the game, you cannot really advance in the game independent of a faction, which is another reason why I need something. Because I need to decide, like, okay, well, who's my guy kind of attached to? So I might say, well, let's just say, for example, whatever. I am part of the Church of Saint Cuthbert. I'm trying to work my way up the Church of Saint Cuthbert hierarchy. So now I got a tournament of arms and skill. Okay, tournament. Someone's coming around saying, hey, Lord Bob is hosting a tournament. Great. So maybe I have my own initiative. Think, you know what? I'm going to be a champion for St. Cuthbert, and I'm going to go and do that. Or I could go to the church and say, hey, there's this tournament happening. Is there opportunity, or what do you want to do? What do you want to do with that? And then the tournament, then things could keep happening, and we'd go from there. So then the next step would be, okay, well, I ride to where this tournament's being held, and then we can roll for other events and things like that, complications, blah, blah, blah. And all the while, maybe I'm looking like, so one hand I could say, okay, I am part of the Church of St. Cuthbert, at least on a low level, but I'm not limited to just being that. Maybe there's a local lord there. I'm like, you know what? I'd kind of like to get in with him too. Like, I have this little piece of, I call it renown, where kind of they know me a little bit. Like, yeah, they kind of know me over there. That's where I got my start, but maybe I can find an opportunity to help out a lord over there, and therefore I can gain a little renown over there by doing something or other. But it's all kind of kicked off with these events, and then you can keep kind of rolling events. So what happens? Maybe we're at the tournament and I can roll again and I get 13. 13 is a destructive ruin. All right, so maybe while I'm at the tournament, something just got taken out, like a place. It is really like a place, right? Oh my gosh, this place, what happened, right? And I can roll. I have some other tables here for the significance. So I can roll a d6 and say, so if I got a 4, so that would be like, okay, it's, oh, you know what? I just realized I'm missing one here. I went 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. We'll just call it a distraction. So it's a distraction. Could it mean that I might, of course, there's that part of it where you're trying to figure out, what does that mean? I could look at and say, hey, oh my gosh, the tournament itself is a distraction. What they wanted to do was someone, they wanted to do this ruination, which I should probably describe a little more, because now that I'm looking back and I'm not sure. I know it's definitely a place, but I don't know what that means. A place is destructively ruined as opposed to it being sacked. I don't know. I might have to amend that, or you just look at it and say, okay, how do you? So there you go. Or other things could be taking place. So, but I need a few things. I need a few things in line before I can really get into it. But I definitely don't want to do too much, because I don't want to get bogged down, as I want to do. I pulled these up, but maybe I should just go to Worldographer first. No, not Wordle. Worldographer. Is this the right one? Well, we'll find out soon enough if it's the new or the up-to-date version or not. Sorry for the ticking. Here we go. Oh, it's saying update available. What? I'm at 23.02. Okay. I'll get this later. I'm not gonna worry about it now. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna make a new initial view. What do I want to do? Wait, what's it say there? If I want to make if you'd like the world build top down, start with the world. If you want to make, can we start and pick kingdom? Okay, yeah, kingdom. Start with kingdom. 24 by 21, or I could do. I mean, really, 6 by 6 would probably be good. And I'll go ahead and generate terrain. This is just one region. What does that mean if I configure? A lot of these I really haven't gone into. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Well, I don't. Well, if I do this, I'm gonna get nothing. Generate terrain is one. It's just a region configure for this. I don't want there to be a. Well, let's just see. What let me generate this. Oh, womp womp. Okay. Yeah. No, that's not. All right. Well, they were for real when they were saying they were not lying when they said that. All right, let's try that again. Let's see. Yeah, there's Betty. Hi, Betty. Where is? All right. Yes, Betty. All right. It's one region. I can configure. Whoops. Each field's percentage chance. Each field's percentage roll. Okay, we'll have terrain. All right. Where is my convert coastal ocean hexes to sea? Okay. Oh, there's my random seed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's. Yeah, that's not. This is pretty funny. No. Oh no. Okay. I guess I gotta. I guess. What did I have before? 24 by 21. That seems like a lot. But I guess what I'll have to do is just pick something here and then zoom in because I don't want to start with a lot. All right, so that's that. So now let's do some. Let's go through. That seed's okay. That's way too much water. Still too much water. Gosh, all this water. Okay, hold on. How can I configure this? $37.92. Each field is a percentage chance the row's terrain will have the column's terrain adjacent to it. So desert. All right, I got that. Desert. All right, got that mountains. I don't know how that works. I'm gonna have to, I'll probably have to ask the Inkwell idea guys what the best way to generate something that doesn't have a crap ton of water in it. Is it doing these? Oh, these are still. No, that can't be right. Land frequency 100%. No, that can't be right. I wish I knew what number I had though. Okay, that's a full world. This is just a region. 0.5, 1. Each field has the percentage chance a row's terrain will have the column's terrain next to it. All right, so the chance that this will be next to that. So there's no chance you're going to get water next to a desert, which is interesting. Because I think you can, right? There are oceans that lap up against deserts. All right. But what are these numbers over here? What does 92.5 mean? 92.5% chance that the ocean in the ocean. All right. Let's go. Let's do something like that. And I'm just going to keep rolling up some numbers till I get something. I just want to have, I guess at this point, I want to have a lot to play with so I can find the kind of area that I want. Too much water. Too much water. Generate rivers. Yeah. Generate coastal. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Mostly large continents. Yeah, right. Huh. There's got to be a good one here somewhere. I mean, they're all good. It's just what I'm looking for. They're just really, I got it. I'm just wondering, can I turn some of these down? Mountains, 11111. Are there any other settings? They give us any others? Oh, that's not it. Classic Wonder Ocean. So 0, grassland, farmland, forest, hills, mountain. So can I change all these and just set them down to 0.5? So I notice that this number on the side is not going down. Or it did. Oh, it did. No, it did change. So what happens now if I hit some of these? It doesn't feel like there's much water. I'm going to have to ask. Let's, oh, I got some areas because I don't mind if there's a lake or something. I just don't want a massive. Okay. All right. Here we go. And of course, I'm going to have to do some surgery here. There's a lot. There's just so much water. It's like more water than I want to deal with. Actually, no, let's kill that. Yeah, okay. Generate coast, convert coastal hexed seas, generate rivers. That's fine. Generate. I don't need to generate empires. Generate hex crawl. 15% water, 2%. Generate roads, include villages, forts, roads. It's going to get rid of all those. Let's just get rid of the generate hex crawl. Cluster 70%. Changing this seem to. No. That doesn't seem to change anything. 70%. All one terrain, generate terrain, is a full world, right? That gets me that. Is it thing, one region. So I need to go back here and configure. It's back here to doing this. Five. Okay. I just still getting way too much water. Why am I getting all this water? How can I get all this water? Plastic water, ocean. The map starts off all ocean. Okay. All right, you can change the terrain used for world generation. The screen note is for world must be checked for these to be used. Also note, changing defaults will cause conversion to an isometric map to fail. Okay, well, that's okay. I'm not going to change any of those. That's fine. Let's just I'm going to reset everything. All right, I guess I'm going to have to go here. We're going to have to go with the full Monty. 200 by 10. Wow, that's big. I guess I'll have room to expand. That one's kind of nice. I'd like to have a couple of different land masses if I can. And why can't I? Let's see. What does allow drift mean? All right, that one's kind of nice. Okay. All right, we're going to go here. We're going to generate this map. And it's huge. Man, we got some funky, that's a funky ass river, I'll tell you that much. What is going on with that? I should probably just have it not do rivers. I can just do rivers myself. All right, here we go. A major mountain chain. We got a couple of wicked ass mountain chains. Kind of would connect those. This is just some Jamaica for the working man. Let's see. I kind of like we have a little strait here. Oh, you got a volcano brewing over there. This is also a world map. This is like a huge mountainous structure. All right. It's too much. I'm going to go back to my first thing. We're going to start kingdom. We're going to go 6 by 6. We're going to go all blank. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to do it myself. Tried. I have a kind of a beat up copy of my Joy of Hex maps. I'm going to use that. We'll do it quick and dirty. Should have done this is where I should have started. But, you know, I'm always trying to get too fancy for my pantsy. Okay. Actually, can I get what other colors can I get? Yeah, let's get border only. All right, there we go. I should have gone with white or something. Anyway, there we go. There are text. Okay, so let's roll some dice here. Let's see. What kind of region are we talking about here? 4. I don't want it to be barren. I want it to be. Oh, what I want it to be? Mostly grasslands, I guess. Well, it's definitely going to be kind of settled. Well, let me just get to doing the actual map. Where's the actual? I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. Let's fill this bad boy up. Okay. Easy peasy. So I'm going to roll for some hex. I'm going to roll for the shapes of the hexes. I'm using this sheet here, my hex shapes. So I've got, well, I can roll both dice at once, right? All right, I rolled a 5. So that shape is a, Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go with, this is mostly going to be, I think I'm going to be grasslands. So that's a 5. Oh, no, actually, sorry. It's a 2 is the shape and the 5 is the thing. So it's the grassy hills. Let me get my, where's my thing here? No, not the mini map. Oops. Yeah, I just want classic. Okay. Grassy hills. Where are you, my hills? Hills. Grassy hills. All right, and the shape is a little line. So a line of 2. So I'm going to take them and let's make this, slap them right there. All right, let's go for another one. 6 and 5. So I have some barons, and the shape is like a zigzag. Zigzag. So what I'm going to do for barons, that's an interesting thing to get. Kind of deserty, sort of wastelandish. Where am I looking for barons? Broken lands. There we go. So I'm going to go. How do I want to shape this? There we go. Okay, let's do it again. 5 and 5. So more grassy hills, and I got the same shape. So what I like about this is basically I'm going to use those grassy hills to form a sort of a, well, I put grazing. I think I just really meant grassing. So now these are going to go like this. So now we have this kind of rough area inside 4 and 5. I keep getting that big shape. And that is woodlands. So I just need woodlands. Let's see. What do I want? I'm just going to use the normal. There we go. Forest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 6. So I got wetlands and I get a river. Okay, and that's kind of curving. So it's doing like that. So I could do this kind of curve. It's a curve shape. I could do that kind of curve. And you always have to imagine you're going to hey, Croco. Croco says straight to solo hex crawl. Well, I got to make the area. I need a playing area. I actually did a bunch of dithering on how I was going to make this terrain before I came here, but now I'm just using my own tools, which I guess is what I should do all the time. All right, wetlands, river in a curve. I could do this curve, and then I could have and it's possible, or I could do the curve this way, coming out of this. Let's do that. Let me put in, and what I do with the rivers is I just put in the water, and I'll figure out I'll just put in ocean water. What's this? Ocean, classic, ocean, classic. All right, let's use this one. And I'm going to put all the water in, and then I'll figure out kind of what to do with it afterwards. So I got 1 and, oh my gosh, 6. I got the same shape again. Actually, that's okay, because I can kind of do that. So this is water kind of going around like that. Need some more. 4 and 4 gives me woodlands in a kind of angular shape. So where's my woodlands at? Woodlands. Where are you at? Here we go. I'm going to do that. I'm supposed to, I have a fourth one, so I'm going to put like that. As always, you know, these tools are meant to be used and tweaked, right? There's no tyranny of the shapes. Croco says, when I did some solo hex crawl, I just generated the hexes on the fly when entering them. Yeah, I mean, though a lot of, you know, the reason why I'm not doing something like that is because a lot of the game I'm going to be playing is going to be relationships between lords and things like that, and I want to kind of know where they are on the map. Know where they are, where things, you know, I'm not playing, this game is not going to be a hex crawl in the sense of me discovering a bunch of stuff like, oh my gosh, I'm the first person to ever visit this continent. It's more you're in a place that is developed. Now, there's going to be plenty of wilderness and dangerous areas and things like that in between these, you know, kind of the points of light sort of thing. But I'm not trying to, and I don't. It's one of those things that I know people love that as a solo tool, but it doesn't really make sense. I mean, I don't know how far back you have to go in time where you get to a part where like literally nobody's been over that horizon. I mean, I know it's happened, right? People go, oh, we discovered Antarctica. We've never been there before. But for the most part, people there, but even in, you know, a lot of those things like, oh, like the go to the poles, but you know, there were indigenous peoples in a lot of those areas and just peoples around who kind of know. Like, yeah, people have been here before. If you ask around the nice questions and stuff, they kind of know. You may not know and you may not want to ask, but they kind of know. But in any case, um, I'm not going for that kind of exploration, so I'm not super concerned. Let me roll these dice again. I forget what I was doing. 5 and 2. So another set of grassy hills, and it's a deuce. So that's actually works out fine for me. I can, so there can be that there's some kind of veil here, maybe. So we got grassy hills, and I'll slap that. Another little nice barrier. 3, and finally got some actual grasslands in my grasslands. 3 and 6. So I'm actually just gonna kind of fill those in with grasslands, I think. I'm not gonna get too. Where's the grass? E, F, G. And then some of these are gonna become. All right, so we're gonna do that. And I will roll for if there's anything up here. Croco says that's what all cataclysmic events are for, and also can't have knowledge of stuff if no one survives. Well, that's true. So I feel like there's always somebody surviving because who's coming to give the PCs their mission of go to the lost city of whatever if nobody's survived. All right, 2. I got grasslands again. Okay, so I'll just put grass. I'm just gonna fill this with grass. Let's bam, 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 bam. All right. So this part is done. Now I still have to figure out this river, and I'm just gonna executive decision. This river is coming down. It's gonna come down like that, and then cut along course like that. Sometimes I get lucky and I actually am able to put a river all the way across. But you know what? Like I said, the tools are there to help. They're not there to, you know, the tyranny of the tool. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw the river so that I remember where it is. Because I'm going to take out this and I'm going to end up blending these terrains in. So I get kind of a nice border type. You'll see. I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do as soon as I do it. So I'm going to do river width. 10's probably good. Colors, fine. I'm going to have it. I'm going to snap to points in the grid. That's fine. And I'm going to start up here. And we're going to mark out this river. These are 3. I'm doing 3 3-mile hexes. So should I go on the board? No, I like going in. I don't know. I get back and forth of where I want my rivers to go, and the borders of hexes or in the middle of the hex. And here you can see I'm combining them. I should probably decide how I want to do that. All right, I guess I'll put on the borders here. Let's put it on the border. So I'll stick to the borders this time. We're gonna stick border, and just swing around these hills. And we're gonna come. So how should this work? I guess it's like this. Which is fine. Yep. Okay. We'll swing that around. All right, so that's fine. Close the shapes for right now. Now I can overwrite this. So what I could do is I have these hills and I have the grassland, so I can just put more grassy hills there, which I think makes sense. But I could also do, maybe I'll do a wooded hill to kind of change it up. So we'll throw that there. But we will go ahead and throw grassy hill right there. And then go ahead and throw right there. All right there. Now, do we have a mixed forest and greens? Forest wetlands. What about forest and grass combo? I don't really want to use the savanna one because it's not really the vibe I'm going through. Wetlands. Okay, never mind. I'm just going to go grassland. I'm going to just go. Okay. So here at. So now I'm actually going to convert some of these grassland to farmlands, which is going to indicate things that are settled. So basically all this here is settled. And we'll do that. And then I'm just going to go plunk. Plunk some things on here. Building. Huh. I was thinking it would we get the names to not be scrunched, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, building. This is kind of why I like using the circles and things, because it's just, to me, it's kind of easier. Okay, well, I'm going to use ones we're here. So we've got settlement. Well, it looks like a tent or something. Where's the village? Do we have a village? Did that work? Okay. Village, tundra, village. All right. Yeah, we'll do this. So we're actually for these, never mind. I don't want village. Do we have castle? Military. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna go. I know it looks a little bit. I'll probably have to figure out something to do because essentially there are no just villages hanging out by themselves in this era. In this world, there's a village. It's attached to some kind of estate, which means there's something, and that estate has some kind of fortification, manor house, castles. Yeah, all the castles, and these would belong to individual lords who may or may not be linked up into some, kingdom type element. I'm going to put in a road now. So we're going to put a road, and we'll have the road. Essentially, I want the road to kind of follow the river more or less. How big is this road? It doesn't need to be that big. And I'm going to snap. All right, so the road's going to follow. Yeah, I would say follow the river. Except maybe here it won't. See, here's where you can kind of get a nice, where we can assume that it's gonna, instead of river, it's gonna hit down here. And this is kind of interesting. I'm going to assume that these are, and I might have to find the thing that these are kind of rapid, that these are elevation changes, rapids, and whatnot. So the river is not really passable in between here, so that you have to end up going around, and then you're able to meet back up with the river. I guess I should really just have it. Go like that. Something like that, I think, is what I would want. Now, how do I do this again? Control drag to drag that. Yeah. And if I want to add a point, move, Shift Alt click to add a point. Oh, geez. Was it Alt? And then Control to move a point. I think this is because also I have it on the grid, so it's a little bit fussy. Okay. And maybe with the black, should I change the color a little bit? The color a little. Can I change the color to maybe a, there we go. A gray, how about even a lighter gray? No, that's maybe too light. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh no. Oh yeah, let me, how do I deselect? Select. Okay. So we got our lords, our estates. We've got a road. Now, I know there are some symbols. I want to say, is there a symbol for cataracts like falls and things? Castle building, military. No. I think there is a waterfall. Let's see. Waterfall. Is there? Classic symbol waterfall. Is that what that? Okay. So I need to uncheck this. Let's see. Hold on. Override default. Yeah, the scale's too big. Okay, and then I need to place freely. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be basically your cataracts, waterfalls, rapids. That's what I'm going to use it for. Can I get a, I don't know what the angle is exactly. Is it, what is it, 30-degree angle? The thing is, it's not quite bold enough. I kind of wish it was a little bit more bold. But whatever, we got to do what we got to do. Actually, can I just move that? And then I should have done this in a better way, but whatever. And then I got to go 30 degrees again. Oops. Okay. So this will hopefully, for people who recognize it, this will be that this is kind of a rapids. So, um, and maybe I should put in a, now that I'm thinking about this, I should probably put another line here for like some kind of landing, right? And then we can put in a, oops. Oh, oops. Don't need it rotated. I also don't need to place freely. Okay, so the nice thing about this, what's always I find interesting is you just end up kind of come up with a story, right? So just in thinking about wanting to put some notes here that's impassable, it occurred to me, well then, if you're trading, if you're following this river, and I'm going to assume the river's flowing like this, right, flowing this way. If you travel on the river, you you might want to get back, you might need to, and this is where I would want to fix this up here, or even probably put a matching tower or something here to show that here's where you kind of embark and debark. So if you're a tradesman, you might take the river down here, and then somewhere over here, you get off the river, load your stuff onto wagons or whatnot, come here, get back on the river and go. And that would, and needing that would probably require, and knowing that that's there, someone would obviously take advantage of it, or multiple people would. And so I should put one here too, to offer that service, obviously at a price, to be like, great, we can help you with that, and but there's gonna be a cost, and and then so on and so forth. So get a little world building out of it, which wasn't really expecting, but I need. So okay, I could probably, unless I'm going to start referring to these as A, B, and C. Well, I don't necessarily need to name them here. River bandits. Yeah, you could. And they probably wouldn't be operating. See, this area, I mean, we could see how it developed. The river bandits, I'm not sure where they want to operate. And that's maybe why it's probably is due to the fact there might have been river banditry at some point that these towers are set up in the first place. Because of the very fact that, and maybe it's not even river bandits, just the fact is of getting through here. But this could still be pretty dicey, right? Hills, that could be tough. It could definitely be a source of layers and whatnot. Who controls this? Who's strong enough? Who is strong enough to, and this is where you can get some of the kind of political stuff, right? Who are we looking at? Two kingdoms here, or are they multiple kingdoms? And who's controlling this, and what happens in this area? That's they're a little bit of a kind of a no man's land over here, and it's not that it's if you were in my mind, right, you ask the people who live here, like, who controls this area over here, they're going to be raising their hand. If there is a king, if there is, let's just say for the moment we're saying there's two kind of kings of these are two kingdoms, they're probably like, yeah, this line in the middle, that's theirs, this is ours. Or maybe one lord would say, oh, I'm all the way up to here, and the other guy would say, I'm all the way down. You could even say this is kind of contested, whatnot. But they're going to claim, all this area would be claimed. Even this stuff over here, these Badlands, this guy's like, oh yeah, all that, now everything to the hills is mine. And the other king's like, everything to the hills is mine. But there's, that doesn't mean that they're actually there. It just means that that if you were to find something up there, somebody's going to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, oh, by the way, this is ours. So either give it to me or pay a tax, because we own this, you don't. It's not free land. It's been claimed, even if nothing's been done with it. He who controls the hills controls it all. Yes, he who controls the spice controls the universe. Something like that. For sure. Okay. Am I ready to take this out of Worldographer? I guess maybe I would say I am. So let's see. Can I export image? Yep. Yeah, that's fine. I'll put it into. Okay, I was we're here to get out of the way. Let's put in pictures. Where's my maps folder? There we go. Call it Solo 1. All right, Solo 1, success. And I will save this as Solo 1 in case I want to come back to it. All right, but we're done here for right now. Okay. There we go. Now, let me grab my handy dandy folder. Let's just open that up. Pictures. Maps. Excuse me. Solo. Where's good old Solo 1? There we go. Oh, why do you do that? You're supposed to be able to cut and paste in here or drag in. That's weird. The first time I do it, it doesn't work. The second time I do it, it works. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Look at that. I left this blank. We have a blank part of the map. Look at that. Croco says, Hill hexes seem like a natural demarcation. Maybe the two sides have a rivalry. Yeah, I mean, that's yes. I told, and that's kind of why I like to have things like hills and rivers. They're definitely natural borders. Things where you can really talk about if there's monsters or different kingdoms or factions, whatever you want to call it. That the hills, mountains, definitely would think there's some. I'm imagining that there's some, and I should probably put in, there's some kind of, maybe there's cliffs or something here, where the forest, and then suddenly it's Badlands. Maybe there's a big elevation change going on. Like this is a kind of valley, and then this is sort of hills. Anyway, but yes. You could easily see this being a border between the two sides, potentially. But there are also good reasons to think about, like, oh, well, why, I always think of things like horror on the hill, right? Oh, well, you have this wide river, and that maybe is why the horror that's on the hill hasn't quite gotten over to that town, that fort that just seems to be sitting over there right for the taking. Yeah, because there's this big, besides the fact that adventurers and blah, blah, blah are there's also this kind of wide river. It's like, okay. I get it. Hills, mountains, rivers, they're all good. And, and it's true in our world also. They're kind of ecosystem potential borders and, it's good. All right. I don't know. What am I going to do for names? I don't want to get bogged down to names at the moment. I like the fact that maybe this is, maybe this used to be United Kingdom. Let me scroll out. Let me move out here. Let's just make some notes. I kind of like the list, actually. And I'm just going to call this ideas. Right, so we have kind of this region was once a United Kingdom, but is now split between two siblings. Yeah, and Croco says names are hard. Yeah, names are hard, and they're also just time consuming. It's time consuming to find names that at least for me, to find names that I like. So I'm going to save that for the end. And I don't need, and the thing is, to get to playing, because part of what I want to do is I really just want to get some basics down so I can just start playing. That's kind of the ultimate goal. I just want to start playing. So I'm looking for what is the minimum viable world building I need to do that. But given that I'm not playing in kind of a exploring, like discovering a whole new world. I'm playing in a world that's lived in. I feel like I need some area, and I also feel like I need to know some things. But I feel like we can get the kind of general gist of what's going on, and then get some names so I can call things by names, and then maybe get a bit of an idea of the attitudes of these various things. And then I'm gonna go. Yeah, Croco says they often don't name towns or NPCs. Yeah, I like to have names as much as it can be a bogged down thing. I like to have names, but I feel you because that definitely is an intriguing idea just to skip the names altogether. Yeah, you could do function. I mean, that's and a lot of people were named for their functions, right? I mean, your name's Taylor. Why? Because you were a tailor. And your name's Farmer because you were a farmer. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, if I really, like once so I'll do this for a bit, and then when I get off, I'll be thinking about names and things, and maybe I'll get some ideas. Okay. Once a single kingdom, but now it is now split between two siblings. I'm not gonna. A brother and a sister might be cool. I don't know. You could do something. You could have some fun with some different relations. I'm just. Yeah, I don't know. Like you could do like an aunt. It could be kind of more not just the two brothers or two sisters, something like that. It could be something more fun, like an uncle and I don't know. We'll just go with siblings for right now. So it was once a single kingdom is now split between two. I'll just put competing siblings. Let's see. Currently, there is peace between the two kingdoms, but discontent is brewing. Two grandpas. Bad grandpa times two. All right, so there's peace between the kingdoms, but discontent is brewing. I think that's fair. Now, it could be something that there's something going on here that's putting pressure. Because we think about, okay, well, what kind of, other than just ambition, what might be driving a wedge between them is maybe there's something that's making trade difficult. I don't know. Part of me wants to not. I think what I'll do is I'll leave and this is the thing is because what I'm going to be doing eventually is generating events that are going to theoretically kick off some kind of adventure for my character. I'm not going to. I'll let that build up the kind of threat. So I think we can have the idea that there's kind of like bandits of some kind. There could be mines. Yeah, that could be something else that could come up. I don't know if I have that, like a discovery of some kind that's on the list of things like, hey, there's a new mine that's discovered. Yeah, I could definitely, I think in terms of keeping things simple, I don't want to, I feel like I have enough. So right now I have two kingdoms, but then also each one of these is essentially a, like a household and a state. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this guy here, 4. So there's basically eight kind of landed families I need to figure out to do. And I think what I might do is to keep it simple, because I could start putting like a mine up here, and then and then I got to think about who controls the mine. I mean, those are fun things, but what I think we'll just start off by saying that that there is and that can be one of the interesting things, that there's the hills, which should probably name them too, are undeveloped at the current time. So no one's gone in and figured out. No one's found that yet. And that's probably the one advantage of the Southern Kingdom is they have easier access to here. I'm gonna guess there's kind of all kinds of kind of crazy elevation kind of changes here to make it difficult for these guys to get over here. But that can be another, this is what I want to develop. I'm not going to, this is where I want to develop. Like, okay, if there is like, hey, there is a discovery here. This is where, as a character, maybe I go, well, I mean, let's just say I decide I'm from somewhere up here. That could become my first adventure. Could be, can I find a passage through the Badlands? Or can I establish a route through the Badlands to this mining area so that these guys don't get, that there's that there's access kind of thing. So I'm gonna let that be for the moment. But I think this is where I kind of want to do the solo plays to start kind of laying. And then then as I'm writing all this stuff up, then it becomes for later on, if playing with a group or whatever, that there are minds established and we figured that out because we ran the game. Let me just see. Do I have on my list of tables? So my events, I've got, let's see, a murder, a battle, a ruin, a sacking, a raid, a sighting, a theft, a snatching, a discovery. Okay, so I have discovery. Yeah. So discovery, I don't know if I don't think I have a sub table for what you're discovering. But certainly a resource. So yeah, I'll roll with that as it comes. And this is, here's this funny thing is I always want to know more. I'm always thinking now, what's going on down here? This edge of, this is just I should have done this a little bit differently and not put these on the edge of the map. Whatever. I'm going to, I'll just play in this area and we'll just say, hey, you know what? I'm not worried about what's going on right below. Like, what's back here? Nothing. Do not go there, silly man. All right. So we can, should I roll some before should I roll some layers or something? Should I roll, what generators do I have access to here? Okay, so I got some hazards. Oh yeah, I could have used the tables to do all the things, but I didn't do that. I'll do that during play if there's like little weird things. But let's see. Let's see. I'm looking for hazards. Hazards are environmental phenomena might prove to be obstacles. For inspiration, roll for hazard type, then roll 2d6. I see, but I didn't roll for hazards. What I'll do is I'll roll for some of these, like the barons. I'll roll for the barons. And we'll see if there's anything in there. Maybe there are some people, like some people in the barons. Okay, so I'm gonna roll a d6. So we'll go for first one here. 2. There's a hazard. Created. I don't want to create a drawing. I just want to draw something in there. So there's a what's the site? Oh no. Undo that. Can I get a better, what's that color? Oh, I see. I want yellow. Okay, yellow. So there's a hazard. I don't know what I'm gonna put. What's like a danger? Okay, there's a hazard. The next Hex 6. There's some kind of settlement. All right, so I'm going to put a circle there. And then the next one, 3. There's a hazard. And then the last one, 4, there's a hazard. So yeah, this is not easy terrain. So we got 3 hazards. I do have a settlement here. Who lives in the in the barrens? Somebody does, or something. And maybe there is a mining camp or some kind of camp, or yeah, I don't know. That's intriguing. All right, there is a settlement in the barrens. Who is it? What is their relationship to the kingdoms? Unknown. Unknown. Oh, I can roll for the type of estate. Let's see. Let's roll for what type of settlement it is. I get a 2. An outpost. Okay. It is an outpost. So probably one of these guys, or if there's somebody else up here, it's an outpost. Let's put outpost. All right. And I could probably convert those back into. I probably shouldn't have closed Worldographer. It goes back. So we got a settlement of the barrens, some kind of outpost. Probably makes sense. It's connected here. Maybe it overlooks. If this is, I feel like maybe these are cliffs. There's some kind of, and maybe the barrens are below or above. Yeah, let me go back into Worldographer for a minute. Let's sort that out. Let's open my file again. See, this is why you save the file. All right. Oh yeah, and I forgot to put something here. I'll do Wooded Hills. Let's just make it, keep it nice and easy. Classic. There we go. Okay. Now we can go to here and let's go to classic. Where's my tower? There's some kind of outpost here. And then we can make a road. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that again. I think it was 5, and I think I changed the color. Is that right? And then snap points on the grid, line, and then we could do something like, or maybe it's a trail. Ooh, can I do a trail? Can I do some dashed lines? Yeah. Okay. Got a nice trail. And now, so there's a kind of a cool one here. You could do, where did I say it's a border, but not elevation. Where is it? Wait a minute. Line. Order. Strong type. Was it elevation? Hold on, let me just see. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, it's way too big. So this is where it gets, I was messing around with this before. It's a really cool feature to make cliffs and things, but it's not totally clear. So the distance, I forget what I was using when I was doing it. Let me see, what does that do? Yeah, distance. Okay, that's distance. Length are those things. I don't know what separation does. Oh yeah, I gotta change those. Change this width. There we go. Okay. There we go. I think that works. So we got this cliff area. And really this is kind of probably, let's say it's kind of, whatever. It's not supposed to be exact, but this would probably be at the edge. Maybe I would say, oh, move that kind of right there. Okay. Was there anything else I wanted to add? Oh yeah. We do have some hazards I want to mark. Nature. This, I think, is what I was thinking about with the waterfall. Oh, that's a geyser. Okay. I totally had that wrong. Whirlpool. Yeah, now I'm going to override the color. Right? There's an override color. Yeah, override color. We'll make it red also. Blam. Okay. So now we know we got these three hazards over there. We got this outpost. And these hazards are probably pretty well known. I mean, it seems like because the fact that it's in the whole thing, that there's probably a natural feature of these bands, which again would make it even more important if there was a discovery here, finding some way across. Who's going to want to do that? No one's going to want to do that. No one's going to want to do it but me. All right, let me just move this over out of the way. Where's my solo one? I'm just going to overwrite. Yeah, I'll overwrite it. I don't care. Great. Okay, I'm not going to update my map in here for the moment. I'll actually minimize you just in case. So now we're back here. Is there anything else I want to do? Oh man, okay. Yeah, there's towers. We got the yeah, let's see. Cataracts disrupt river use between the two towers. Trade is forced. onto the road. What else? What else? What else? What else? Hmm. Oh man, I can't, it's like I want to do names. I want to start looking at these lords. All right, let me just put some numbers. Let's just write some numbers down. We'll call this A. Oh, that maybe is too big. So we'll just call this A. B. C. D. And then E. F. G. And then H. The alphabet lords. Yep. Could be. Okay. I don't have a table for, I haven't done that yet. I want to have a table for so a lot of things I'm doing here, I'm basing it on this concept of virtues and vices that are tied to the humors, like are you phlegmatic? Are you melancholic? Are you whatever? And those, and they have, there are personality types that are associated with them, but I don't have those tables. I don't have a table one ready, which I suppose I could try to make one now, just real quick. Because the other thing is, that's what I'm trying to. One of the things, it's a, I'm part of this thing I'm doing is it's all D6 based. I want everything to be D6s. But then you run into things like now I have a D4. Now it seems to me or not D4. I have four humors. I think what I'm going to do is, it seems like what should be doable is to do a D66 thing, but we're only, so D66 gives us 36 possibilities. And that number is divisible by 4. It is 9. So I should be able to take that 4. And the humors also have elements. So there's elements like fire, air, earth, water, and then the humors, and then whatever. So I feel like I should be able to take 9 of these. If I'm thinking correctly, I should be able to do it. So I should be able to go, 11, 16, and this is where these numbers get funky because we're not going up to 10. So it's 11 to 16, and then 11 to 23. We'll just call that sanguine, which is essentially you're pleasant. Sanguine is optimistic, courageous. And I'll have to have another table for this too. But also you could be overconfident and reckless. It's now 24, 20, 24, 25, 26, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I'll have this choleric. So they're, passionate, ambitious, but also aggressive and impatient. Now you have 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 51, 52, 53. That will be melancholic, which would be thoughtful, analytic. No, sorry, this is the wrong one. Sorry, I was going to phlegmatic, which is kind of diplomatic, but also apathetic and lazy. And then finally 54, 55, 56, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. Yep, I think that works. And then we get melancholic, which is analytical. And what did I spell that wrong? But could be envious. I always, I've been doing that. Instead of flag, I'm putting felg. I'm doing it consistently, so I don't know why. So now I can give these alphabet lords a piece of my mind. So let's just make a thing for A. All right. I don't know if I want to be barons. I don't know. I'll call them barons right now. I don't know if they're going to be barons ultimately, but that's fine. So Baron A. $25. So they are choleric. So I'm going to roll 2, which is basically for their kind of good and bad part. 61. They're in the kind of envious. And I do have virtues and vices for these, but I'm just doing this as a shorthand. All right, so I'll just. There we go. So now the cleric. Bam. Now Baron B. The B of barons. Buzz. 13. Sanguine. Courageous. All right. That's cool. But what's his downside? 54, also melancholic. So he's also envious. Well, maybe it got 2 envious people. Of course, I can amend these, and I can find some other verbiage so that we're not using the same ones. That's why I'll have some tables or some lists. 64. So this person's melancholic. They are, what did I say they were? Diplomatic. Just analytical. Or diligent. But now their fault. 45. They're phlegmatic. They're lazy. Okay. And then finally on this side, Baron D. What do you got for me, Baron D? Wow, 66. Also melancholic diligent. That's weird. They're really mirroring up. And 41. What's 41? Oh, I can't have them both have the same ones. Sorry, so I'm going to call him envious. I'm going to flip him then. I don't want it to be exactly the same, but I rolled the same numbers. We'll see how it goes. And then, okay, so it's D. Oh, yeah, I got E, F, G, H. All right, let's see. Come on, let's go with some different ones. 22. Sanguine. They're optimistic. Now their downside is 42. Oh, I keep doing that. 42. They are lazy. A lot of lazy lords running around, which I guess that makes sense. That's E. I should probably just copy a bunch of these, shouldn't I? E. What am I doing? I have E, F, E, F, G, H. Okay. E, let's see. All right, E, S is F. F, G, and H. Okay. So Baron F, 34, gives us, oh, choleric. Also passionate, like Baron A. It could also be that some of these that are matching up could make for natural either enemies or allies, right? Either you're going to think that they're on the same page, or what? Well, let's see what his downside 13 sanguine, they're reckless. All right, Baron G 36 is also choleric. So they're passionate. And then their downside is 51. There, phlegmatic. Oh, look at that right there, lazy. A lot of lazy lords. We got ourselves a whole ton of lazy lords. 52 is phlegmatic. Simon Baron D. And then what is his downside? 63, melancholic, envious. Oh, wow. D and H on opposite sides, so they're in two different kingdoms. Caucasus lazy bums not making up the mountains. Yeah, well, so pretty interesting here. And I'll have to come up, obviously I'll develop their characters so they're not whatever, but this is just to give a good starting point, right? So some of them are passionate, others are lazy, and I'll come up with some synonyms so I can kind of divide them up a little bit more, and maybe I'll come up with another table of some other personality attributes, but I really just want to give a broad brush. This is kind of who they are. So we got these lords are a mix of passionate and envious. Some of them are lazy. Some of them are diplomatic. We don't have any that are courageous. We didn't get any sanguine. Oh, we did one. Yes, Baron B is courageous. Oh, optimistic, and they're both sanguine. E and B are both. I gave them different elements of sanguine, but I'll mix those up. But Baron E is lazy, and Baron B is envious. Got some envy issues. And these So we have these two kind of kingdoms. I guess I'll put an official, almost like a border in here. We'll kind of say, we'll say that their official border kind of runs along the hills like this. Actually, I shouldn't do blue. I think that's a river. And I'll dash it. This is sort of the official, unofficial borderline between the two kingdoms. Which is important, we'll just say, because if we do end up having these having issues, say, here, this kingdom will say, hey man, your side of the hills, your problem, you got to solve this. If there is a problem over here with banditry or whatever, your problem. And of course, where on the hills these lines are and where mines might be would kind of push, like, oh, maybe, nope, this is big. It'll be good because if we do end up developing the fact that there's a mine here, where they are could be very contested areas, sort of on the borders of these different hills. So we got some good areas where there could be some disputations. And of course, there's going to be, infighting amongst the, I wonder if these could be religious now that I'm thinking about it. That there's an order. I might make a note. Maybe there's an order of, because it makes sense in a way if you want to look for, like, let's say we want a neutral party to manage this. Maybe there's a religion of, there's a river god or something else, and religions would put up hostelries and things, hospitals. It's places where travelers could rest and whatever. So maybe it makes sense that these two on these borders are both kind of religious hospitals by a religious order. Hostelries / hospitals. Is the river sacred? Oh, that's another good question. Is the river unknown? Okay. So what do we got here? Yeah, I'll have to fill that in. I think I did put it on the official map. Where the official map I did stick something. I did. Okay. So here's the official map, right? So as I'm winding this down for the evening, we've got, I guess I'll put the borders. Let me put a border here too. Line, border. We'll use a different color. We'll use purple. Yeah, snap. All right, so we'll put the or I think can I do this a different way? Can I do dotted? It's cross-hatched. No. Dashed. No. I'll just do simple for now. Okay. So we got the simple border here demonstrated. Basically, the official lines. We've got this river that runs this way through this area. And we have basically, one main road. It was the old King's Road when there was one king. This was the King's Road. Now two King's Roads, or whatever. And we have this split here. We have so each of these petty kingdoms. I mean, the original kingdom. These are all 3 mile hexes. So this area, and this might not have been the entire kingdom, but I guess for our purposes, this is the entire kingdom. And we'll figure it out if we have to expand what's going on, maybe beyond these areas. However, so that's for later on. For the moment, this is all we're worried about. Whoops! Shoot. Oh no. Well, I can keep it dashed. It's fine, actually. Let me just turn this off. Okay. So now I'm not marking. So we've got 2 very petty kingdoms. Road links them together, as well as the river. This here, we have cataracts, which make this part of the river, as there's some big elevation changes here, just impassable. I should probably do more of this as it at least wraps around here. Maybe I should put that in. Let me see. Can I? Let me see. Okay, I can try alt clicking to add a segment. What the heck? Hold on. Alt click. Oh no. Never mind. All right, I just got to have to do this again. 5, 15, 5, 15. And we're doing red. All right, so let's see if I can do this again. Elevation. Color. That's a different red. Did I go for a different red? Okay. But that makes, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what I want. So maybe these are raised up. I'm trying to think. Or should it be the other way? Oh, shoot. Now I'm wondering, should it be the other way? Should this be kind of, yeah, that probably makes more sense. All right, let me do this again. Select. And we're going to delete you. And I got to select. Oh, nope. Oh, no. I can't undo you. Oh, no. All right, let's do this again. Okay. That's what I get for putting the one right on top of the other. Okay, so I gotta go. How did I do this? Yeah, we're following the river. 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 Yeah, I think it's going like that. I think that's right. Okay, I think that's right. I mean, I think I have the other copy of it. All right. I think that's. Whoops. Yes, that's accurate. Okay, good. Now let me put in this. Oh, I put in this border. We're gonna go elevation. I think how to do this. Is it line? Oops. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. Okay. That's what I'm gonna go with. That is what I'm gonna go with. So we got this kind of hard border, but there is some kind of trail. I guess that I imagine this. If you're looking at this as not as more than a representation, but an actual physical location, this tower would be like right at the edge. But we know we just got it over here. Some kind of outpost. I think I kind of like the idea that is a religious order that's working these two outposts. Maybe, and this one too. Let's see what that's about. I haven't quite got that figured out yet. But we got some lords, we got some things. I will come up with some names, and I feel pretty good that once I got some names, I can start generating. And the thing is, and I'll do most of this either I'll do it on stream or I'll record it as I'll generate some. I can maybe generate some events for things that happened in the recent past to give some kind of maybe come up with a little background. But let me come up with some names because sometimes names also help just jumpstart some other ideas. So yeah, look for more of this. I'll probably post this to my forums if anyone's interested in it, or some other places. Maybe I'll put it on Patreon just in case anybody cares. But we'll see where this goes. So I'm happy to finally get some kind of work done, and we'll see where it takes us. All right, folks, have a great night. Game on, and I'll talk to you later. Bye now.